information to share. I'm talking with my
I get it. Cell.
Zell.
SEL. Cell.
Zell, and then you were from South Africa, I believe. Originally, and you were explaining to me the. I was asking you about the legal aspects of ayahuasca and some of the other things that you're knowledgeable about. Maybe would you mind sharing with our my friends who might be interested in knowing about some of the information you have?
Well, I'll go over the scheduling. Pretty much all psychedelic medicines are Schedule 1, meaning that it's illegal in the United States. However, if you belong to a Native American church, then it falls under one of the amendments that you can use these sacraments under that umbrella. And it has to be in the context of a ceremony under the correct conditions that within the context also of the church.
And is that monitored fairly strictly, or is it a pretty loose recognition of the native church?
Again, what the federal government is looking for is any what they call abuse, which means usage outside the church, outside that setting, and how it's been administered, how it's been purchased, all of these things. So obviously they keep an eye on that.
And other countries that you've traveled to, how is it that these drugs or these herbs heal?
Well, for example, let's take ayahuasca and peyote and San Pedro. So you can travel to Peru, it's legal. Brazil, I understand, it's legal. Ecuador, it's legal here. Guatemala, Mexico. So there's many countries that those particular medicines which you'll find locally grown are legal, right? And also because of the long-standing ceremonies that people have been running for many years, centuries.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about what you have a specific project relative to an herb. You call it bongo, or help me out.
Well, there's a very powerful medicine which comes from from the Sonoran Desert toad, and this is found in northwest Mexico. And this toad has a venom inside its glands, and the venom is then extracted, not harming the toad. And the history of using this particular approach, where the milk from the gland is dried and then it's smoked, and the actual recorded history is only 50 years old.
So could you tell me a little bit about the health effects that might come from the ingestion of this smoke from this plant, or this concoction?
So if we're looking at, for example, disorders, which people use that word disorder, linked to depression, anxiety, phobias, addictions, all of these so-called neural conditions. The use of this particular medicine, commonly known as 5-MeO-DMT.
Say that again for me.
5-MeO-DMT. 5-MeO. So we use the words 5-MeO. Because if you use the word DMT, it's actually referring to another substance, which is the active ingredient in ayahuasca. So if somebody says DMT to you, they're actually referring to the active ingredient in ayahuasca, or an extract from the mimosa plant in acacia. So it's a very, very different medicine. Now, for example, people who have addictions and they use the 5-MeO can get tremendous benefit. Often 1 or 2 sessions is enough to break the addiction, and that can be for often years.
Well, I have a question that is, if I can interrupt your... What if we gave this drug to Mr. Trump? Is there any hope?
So this medicine, I don't call it a drug because I actually use the word drugs for pharmaceuticals and for synthetics that are extracted more from petroleum products, right?
Right.
So you can use the word synthetic if it's an extract, let's say, from a plant. Okay.
You don't use the word synthetic.
You can say synthetic.
Even if you take it from a plant.
Even if it's taken from a plant. Like,
but why would you want to call it synthetic?
Well, LSD is synthetic, but it comes from a fungus.
Yeah, myself,
right? It's been extracted in the laboratory using various processes.
Right.
And so, in effect, it's a synthetic. It's not the fungus anymore. It's been altered and changed to give you this particular LSD molecule.
And that's probably why I never bothered taking it, even though it was suggested to me on numerous occasions that it might help me become enlightened faster.
Each to his own.
Well, I chose not to because it was synthetic, and that, you know, I was biased towards that because of my training. I don't know. Yeah. I didn't know dick about it.
You have to get the context of where the extraction is come from and how it's made.
Right.
So many of the pharmaceutical synthetics are from petroleum.
Okay.
Right. And so
are they? When I hear you say that, I just see a carbon atom being added to it. Or beginning with a carbon atom. Is that what? So, all right. I have no more intelligent questions. If those were those, I appreciate your knowledge and wisdom. Tell people how they can get in touch with you if they had some questions.
I am on Facebook. Sel Sarkin.
Spell it.
SELSARKIN. And I'm happy to answer questions and to provide information and also to a certain amount advice. And as far as if you're wanting to take medicine, how's the best way to go about it, what's the best approach, and then also after your journey, how to integrate the experience.
Right. So, comes to mind, how busy are you? Because you know, almost everyone in the world that I know of would like to have a little bit of insight into what you've just shared here. Anyone who smokes grass would probably want to be aware of this. What's your best advice for someone who gets along with their weed? Still has, you know, we've done the ayahuasca, we've done peyote, we've stayed away from all what I consider chemicals, you know, in the synthetic sense. And I'm quite comfortable with where I am. What would you, would your medicine be beneficial for me, do you think? Or do you think it's beneficial for everybody?
So the 5-MeO is probably the most powerful entheogen on the planet today. And some people call it the crown jewel of all entheogens.
And what is an entheogen? What does that mean?
Entheogen comes from the Greek word meaning to bring out the divine from within. So a plant medicine or a substance that takes you into another dimension, takes you to the spirit world, takes you deep into yourself. So we're talking about a psychedelic experience. Psychedelic is often now associated with journeying into the spirit world or another dimension. And so an entheogen is a medicine that will bring out the divine from within you. And when you access the divine in you, your whole approach to life therefore will change, because when you haven't accessed the love, the amazing being that you are, you probably operate out of ego, out of fear, out of control, all the things that really don't serve you or humanity or the planet. Now, when you journey into the spirit world, taking an entheogen or plant medicine, and you access your inner divinity, you begin to understand the misuse of your ego, misappropriation of how you've been living your life, and you'll start to make changes.
And how would you compare its efficacy to the use of the term in the catch alaken?
I don't understand that.
You don't know the term in the catch alaken? Ah. Well, in my estimation, what you've described is what in the catch alaken communicates just in words, without chemicals, just a connection between I see God in you, and that's in the catch alaken, and I see it back. I see me in you, I see you in me. So it's getting each of us to have that recognition, and once we have that recognition, we say Yuye.
Yuye.
And Yuye, exactly.
Yuye.
So that recognition, yeah, Yuye.
Spanish words.
They're Maya. They're Maya consciousness. This is their approach to the 9th level, to the global mind. This is their approach to it. As I think that Carl Kalaman writes on this, and we're doing an event in March where Kalaman will be there. If you want to come and meet him, it might be an interesting man for you to meet.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to be talking to him very shortly after this, and I'll introduce you to over the emails.
That'll be great.
Okay, great. I think this was a good one.
Very good.
Yuye.
Yuye.